Nicholas Odenheimer can keep them caged. Is it prowess down at the bottom of your screen up against Azeem Lyons on the 4-color zoo list? Shame. I wonder what the white creatures did to not get included, although there is a Gulta and Mavrin in here, so it's fine.
Yeah.
You're not casting that ever, but yeah.
And I believe the Throne of the Grim Captain, the backside is a black creature, so that has every color represented, even though this is a base blue-red deck.
This could be sweet. And 3-0, so I bet you no one practiced for this matchup. Yeah, the backside is a Menace, Trample, Lifelink, Hexproof. It's the Grim Captain. Whenever this attacks, each player sacrifices a non-land permanent. Then you can put an exiled card used to craft it onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Ew! Okay, I love it. This sounds fun.
Quick out of the gates from Nicholas Odenheimer, not even bothering to plot the slick shots. They're just coming down as attackers, accumulate that little bit of damage, set up for a big explosive turn later. But I will also note that he missed a land drop, so not ready to stock up just yet, but maybe Opt or Sleight of Hand would put him in good position.
Oh, Spirebluff Canal, right on time. Able to do the stock up you mentioned. Did see a big Atali hit the bin there for Azeem. But still quite a ways to go. He has the Trumpeting Carnosaur in hand that can also discard itself to deal 3, so would like to get that to sort out one of these birds. Yep. So there goes one of the slick shot show-offs. Unfortunately, doesn't have prowess, so, you know, it can never get out of toughness range if there's like a lightning strike or a shock or something to kill it. Ooh, okay.
Oh boy, so the Staunch Crewmate, really powerful in a deck with other pirates, but it can also find the key card, the Throne of the Grim Captain.
Nice.
And we're already set up with a Merfolk and a Dinosaur in the graveyard. If that Staunch Crewmate dies, then we're only one away.
Got a pirate, yeah. So for Shapeshifters in the bin, because there's a couple of those too. There's Taurian Mauler and there's 3-Tree Mascot.
Boy, Taurian Mauler is a blast from the past. I guess that must be like a Foundations card that I did not expect to see in Standard.
No, I'm going to double check that.
Yeah, so there you see it on the screen. Taurian Mauler, 3-mana 2/2 Changeling that grows. This was a really desirable card back when it was printed in like the Lorwyn Morningtide era of the original Changelings. And hey, if you need to beef up your count of a variety of different creature types, this is a way to do it.
Grim Captain can't just target one thing, though. Or it can, right? So if there's a Changeling in the bin, granted, you want to get as many cool things under it as you can, but it could just be one thing to flip it.
I believe the Changeling is like sort of a wild card, so I think you would still need 4 distinct creatures.
Right, okay.
But the Changeling can count as whatever you're missing.
Okay. Yeah, that would be silly.
Also, if you ever cast a Taurian Mauler, it's like kind of reverse prowess, right? So when all your opponents are trying to cast a big flurry of spells in the same turn, you can accumulate a bunch of counters and have the biggest creature on the battlefield.
It's a good way to give yourself a massive blocker against the ground-based creatures like these monks that we see Nicholas Odenheimer creating. I know my brain is mush for the most part of the year, but I'm pretty sure Nicholas Odenheimer also won an RC.
Wow, very cool.
I think he won the first Spotlight series.
Oh, right, with the Gruul Leyline deck.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun just to see the evolution of Standard of like, okay, this is one of our expert red aggressive players who has probably spanned the whole spectrum from like Gruul of varying types to mono red to now playing Izzet as his deck of choice.
Nice. Doing all the things he wants to be doing at this point. Storm Chaser's talent on the board. We've got the remaining Slickshot show-off and a whole bunch of little friends here, as well as the Monstrous Rage now on the Monastery Swift Spear. So that's a lot of damage coming in. And that's enough for Azeem Lyons to go, okay, let's go sideboard times.
Yeah, wow. So was that actually lethal right there? I saw Azeem lined up a block with the Staunch Crewmate against the Swift Spear that was rendered ineffective by Monstrous Rage giving Trample. Then Nicholas also removed the blocker with into the Flood Maw, which is another prowess trigger, takes away even the 1 toughness of the Staunch Crewmate. So I guess with enough triggers on the on the Slickshot Show-Off, plus the Trampling Monastery Swift Spear, it was just all over before Azeem was even able to craft.
Yeah. I wonder what Azeem has faced thus far. Try and have a look at that as we take a look at the sideboards here. What are we doing against this list? Against Is It Prowess? So what do you think Azeem's going to bring in?
Boy, that is the million-dollar question. You know, if anyone has come up with a good answer to that of what cards can I sideboard against Is It Prowess to really shore up the matchup, then they're going to have a good weekend. But some cards that he might be turning to, Pyroclasm is sort of hit or miss against Is It, where sometimes you can tag like a creature if they've tapped out and they can't trigger Prowess, or if they've put the Slickshot Show-Off onto the battlefield rather than plotting it, like did happen in the first game. Abrade, I think, is pretty safe as far as dispersal. These are ones that are a little bit more reliable in terms of being able to remove an attacker, and I think that's the name of the game for Azeem. You know, his goal is to delay the game long enough to get the Throne of the Grim Captain as a relevant game piece, and to do that, you just need to make sure you're not dying to those Slickshot Show-Offs.
Yeah, you know, similarly to how we saw with Corey Lurch with the Azorius artifacts, you need a way to just slow them down so that you can do the fun stuff too. Because pretty sure everyone wants to play Magic here this weekend, and you know what Magic I really enjoy playing? Tarkir. Tarkir Dragonstorm is such a cool set. My set of the year so far, probably over the last like 2 years maybe. Who doesn't love big dragons? You a dragon fan?
I am, yeah.
Good, yes.
I saw you playing Tarkir Dragonstorm during our off rounds in the morning, right? You just can't get enough.
I can't, no. Yes, I really, really enjoy the set. It is so much fun. Be sure to go and check it out at starcitygames.com/MTG-TDM. And go pick up some dragons, because they really, really are cool. And the reprint of Praetorhoof Behemoth has made it super affordable too. So yay for reprints! I didn't own one, and then I opened one, and I was very happy about it.
Nice. Congratulations. That's an important one to have in your collection.
Yeah. Oh, and the art and the treatments. Everything's just so good in that set. I even built my own dragons deck. I was like, I'm never going to own an Dragon deck because no one likes playing against it. But now there's new dragons. You could do other cool things with it. So it's like, yeah, I'll build it. So I did. Anyway, I digress. Sideboarding now for Nicholas Odenheimer. I'm guessing a braid will be pretty important here.
Yeah.
Anything else of importance?
I love the 2 Abrades, the 2 Ghost Vacuums, because those are cards that can directly fight the scariest card from Azeem's deck, which is that Throne of the Grim Captain. Other than that, it's options, right? You might turn to Spell Pierce if you think that's going to be important. Maybe Sunspine Links if your opponent really is playing, a 4 or 5 color deck. But yeah, I would jump to the Abrades and the Ghost Vacuums, and then kind of optimize and round things out as you see fit in the other departments.
Yeah, Ghost Vacuum is going to have a pretty good weekend, I think. Just based off of how many decks we've seen that care about their graveyards. Right.
Yeah. When we talked about the metagame breakdown, we were sort of focused on the big story, which of course is It Prowess?
Yeah.
But the second most played deck is Omniscience, which is not something, certainly like 2 weeks ago, I would not have foreseen that development in the metagame. But I did a lap around the room. I saw a lot of the sharp players, like the experienced players, bringing Omniscience. So this is going to be one to watch, even though we didn't have it in the feature match last round. Definitely look for that as sort of like a day 2 winners metagame deck if some players have found a way to solve the Is It matchup with Omniscience. And yeah, Ghost Vacuum, just one of those sort of ubiquitous cards. It's like almost any deck in the format starts with those 2 Ghost Vacuums in the sideboard. Piece in the other 73 cards as you see fit, and you're ready to go.
It's kind of like Soul Ring and Arcane Signet and Commander.
Yeah, no kidding. Ailey, while the players are setting up,
Yeah.
let me ask you the question that you asked me last round. What would you play if you were competing in the RC?
I probably would play the Is It Prowess deck.
Okay.
Because I really like going fast. That's how I started playing Magic, or learning to play Magic, was with it was a mono red deck around Ixalan time, so like Fanatical Firebrand, that kind of nonsense. That's why I always play things in my first main phase, because I always expect them to have haste.
Yeah.
Yep.
They should have haste.
So bad habit for that, but yeah, I like killing my opponent quicker, because then there's less decisions for them to make and less mistakes for me to make.
So is it prowess heavy on swift spears and slick shots, it sounds like?
Yeah. Go fast, smack face.
So meanwhile, we have Azeem with his key card right off the bat.
Oh, nice.
Can we get Throne of the Grim Captain on the screen?
Throne of the Grim Captain is on the board, milling now. So can we get the 4 creature types needed to craft that by turn 4? That would be sweet. I would love to see it, please, Azeem.
Yeah, so the key, the payoff, of course, is the craft ability. But this is a cool card because if you cast it on turn 2, it's sort of like a self-enabler where you get to stock your graveyard. We talked about how Azeem designed his deck with the appropriate mix of all these creature types, plenty of changelings to serve as wild cards. So he's just trying to set up, if Nicholas can't find a Braid or Ghost Vacuum, he could just be a sitting duck to the Throne of the Grim Captain, making essentially an unbeatable creature.
That would be rough. Sleight of hand now. After the plotted Slickshot Show-Off joins the battlefield, finds land number 3, Sparbluff Canal. Opt, another trigger there. So now these are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 power, I believe. What else can you do, Nicholas? Nothing, because Floodpits Drowner says, sit down, please, birdie. Back to sleep you go.
Somewhat interesting that in game 1, Nicholas was just casting outright the slick shots to start attacking for 1. This time he did elect to plot, which could be a nod to Pyroclasm. You'll see these sharp Is It players sort of like recognizing the patterns and knowing what you should be doing differently between main deck and sideboard, and of course depending on what your opponent's strategy and hate cards available are, but just not exposing the Slick Shot Show Off to a sorcery speed removal spell until you're ready to have your big turn.
Moldaran Thrillseeker in hand, along with Into the Flood Ball. I appreciate Azeem leaning forward there a little bit. Oh, okay. This is a sweet card, too.
Beautiful card, yeah.
It's a decent blocker and decent way to deal some reach damage. Turn passes back now to Nicholas. Stun counter's gone, so one more turn and that bird will be back on duty. What can this otter do against a vampire?
Well, it's got to become at least a 3/3 before it can be a relevant attacker.
Oh, imagine doing the backup ability on a Taurian Mauler in a long game. Oh, that would be so sweet.
There's so much cool stuff you could do with the Thrill Seeker. It's not doesn't appear in this particular deck list, but that's a favorite card with Agatha's Soul Cauldron.
Yes.
Where it's like, hey,
beautiful.
I'm going to give all my creatures the ability to grow huge and sacrifice to deal damage directly to you.
That's another really sweet card. I love Soul Cauldron. Hey, Ghost Vacuum. Uh-oh, that's going to put a bit of a wrinkle in Azeem's plans.
One of the things that's fun about Ghost Vacuum is it's not all or nothing, right? It's not Rest in Peace, it's not Leyline of the Void, but it's more like we're going to see whether the Throne of the Grim Captain and, all of the support Azeem can put together for it can outpace the one targeted graveyard removal each turn. And I don't know the answer. Certainly, if you're a fan of Nicholas, you're happy that he's got the Ghost Vacuum to at least like interact and try, but it's not impossible for Azeem to just fight through it. Okay, so here we have activate the mill 2. Nicholas pauses to think, do I want to, remove something in response? Because once the craft ability goes on the stack, it's too late.
Yeah.
You can't remove one of the craftable cards in response. You have to do it preemptively. So don't ever let Azeem get all 4 types in the graveyard.
Ruh-roh. Because it's not a target ability, that's why it's not. There's no ability to respond, correct? Well, the captain's awake.
So he crafted with the vampire from the battlefield. I forgot you could do that.
Yeah, oh right, sweet.
All right, the Grim Captain.
Grim Captain. He is a 7/7 with many keywords. Lifelink, Hexproof, Menace, Trample, and basically has Annihilator.
I mean, yeah, this thing is not going to be on the battlefield for long before the game ends. So of course, we'll flag Lifelink and Hexproof as things that a red-based aggressive deck are going to have a little bit of trouble for.
Just a bit.
Yeah, just a bit. And then whenever the Grim Captain attacks, each opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent, so that's the Annihilator you mentioned. Then you may put an exiled creature card used to craft the Grim Captain onto the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking. So how about that Atali Primal Conqueror?
Yeah.
How about that Voldaren Thrillseeker to back up onto the Grim Captain itself? I think this game, once that thing turns sideways even once, we're going to see Azeem just do his thing and show why this kind of goofy-looking deck is actually 3-0, possibly on track for 4-0.
Oh boy. Nicholas is going to put up the best fight that he can, though. Monstrous Rage on the birdie. Okay, good. It doesn't fly. Grimcap, I thought it flew as well. I was like, yeah, that would be just busted. So down to 13 goes Azeem, but not all too fussed about that with the Grim Captain on the board. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
So it brings up the question, did Nicholas make a mistake in not activating the Ghost Vacuum soon enough? Was there an opportunity that he could have targeted something or something different to protect himself? But certainly, I'll admit, I missed that the vampire on the battlefield was going to be a valid crafting option.
Yeah.
So that's why, one of the hidden strengths of bringing one of these fringe decks is hey, people haven't practiced against you. They maybe haven't seen the cards. They don't know all the tricks that they need to know in order to shut you down. And there's Azeem.
So cool.
I mean, I don't know if the word stealing is accurate there, but just doing his thing.
He's a pirate, Reed Duke. Of course he's going to steal it.
Stealing everything he can. But the Grim Captain, man, that is scary.
That was so cool. Yeah, and like you mentioned, Thrillseeker coming back, giving the backup ability to the captain. Thrillseeker also has the ability if you need that extra little ping of damage, but wow, that was sick. More, please.
I'm ready for it, yeah. So we saw Into the Floodmaw as one of those, we weren't sure sideboard options, but it makes perfect sense. You just want to slow the game down. And other than that, Azeem wants to make sure he's keeping the 4 copies of his key card, the Throne of the Grim Captain, plus the healthy mix of creatures, because we saw, he needed it. He needed to have his random mills deliver the right intersection of creatures in order to craft and win the game.
Man. Didn't think I'd see 2 games with Croft in it. TBH. It's kind of one of those keywords where you just go, okay, fine, it's cute. It's doing work. Oh, man. Magic is cool. And you know what's cool? Final Fantasy. That's the next set coming up from Magic the Gathering, and you can pre-order your singles right now. StarCityGames.com/MTG-Fin. This set is already the best-selling Magic set of all time. Video gamers want to get their hands on this stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they translate all of these characters into Magic the Gathering. Reed, I know you're a big fan.
I got in on it yesterday. I pre-ordered.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
Sweet.
Get ready.
What are you looking forward to playing with?
So my pre-orders, I ordered Cloud and I ordered Cecil. Because these cards look sweet to me. They're really nice, cheap creatures. Cecil's Dark Knight is 1 black to cast.
Yeah.
Cloud is 2 white, kind of like a Stoneforge Mystic type creature. But I figured, hey, even if I'm wrong and these cards don't wind up being competitive, got 4 copies of my favorite characters.
Yeah,
so
you're happy.
that's the upside of this Final Fantasy is like everything's going to either be a great competitive card or it's just going to be really sweet and you're going to be happy to own it, especially if you're a fan like I am.
Hell yeah. I still need to get in on Final Fantasy. I've been told that Final Fantasy 9 is the one to play.
It's a good one. You really can't go wrong.
Yeah. There's 15 to choose from, right?
16 mainline numbered games, which those are the ones represented in the set. And then if you go into the spin-offs, you're talking like dozens or hundreds more.
Okay. I don't have that much time. I can maybe play one before the set releases. Oh, goodness me. Players are resolving their mulligans, shuffling up here. Let's see. Come on, Azeem, do it again. That was so much fun. I know what I'm playing after this round. Just putting it out there.
some pirates, some dinosaurs.
Yes.
Some merfolk.
It's my favorite dead vampires. It's like my favorite things. I started playing in Ixalan, so like I got a soft spot for these creature types.
Yeah, so let's talk about like the standard card pool is one of the biggest standard pools
ever.
I don't have the stats in front of me, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like the biggest standard ever.
Yes, I think it is. I think Frank Carson did a count. It was like it's either over 3,000 or over 5,000 cards. It was nutty.
And in addition to all of the like stock archetypes that we're seeing every day, you forget that like every single individual set in standard had its mechanics and its synergies that you can still go back and tap into. So Ixalan is a great example. You said, we saw two craft decks on camera. That was one of the main like structural themes of Lost Caverns of Ixalan. So if you want to go build a Grim Captain deck or a typal creature deck of any of the supported types from Ixalan, you can do that. You want to go build Toxic, go back to the Phyrexian All Will Be One cards. Final Fantasy's coming out soon. I'm sure there will be set-specific mechanics for that. So there's just so many directions you can go in standard, and Azeem showing that like even at the high competitive levels, you can still make it work.
Good job, Magic designers. Thank you for giving us cool cards to play with.
So both players start with 6 here. Nicholas gets to go first, which that is, for better or for worse, quite a big deal for the most important deck in the field this weekend. It is very scary when it gets to get out of the gates with a turn 1 Monastery Swiftspear on the play.
That is what you want to see if you are Nicholas Odenheimer. I mean, it's a toss-up, I guess, between that and the Storm Chaser's talent. Which one would you rather have?
Well, if I have to pick one, I'll take the Swiftspear. But my favorite is when you're like turn 1 Storm Chaser, turn 2 Swiftspear. Now I've got 3 creatures attacking you. I'm setting up for a big turn later. But yeah, I mean, speaking of 3 1-mana spells, this is what Izzet does. Does what Izzet did.
Izzet does what Izzet do.
Yeah, thank you.
Something along those lines. Oh no, get it. Okay.
Wow, that's a sideboard card that I did not expect. Gleeful Demolition, which can destroy a Quarry Steel Cutter always, but also hedges your bet, protects you against the sideboard artifacts. So, yeah, Azeem just threading the needle, being prepared for all the various things that he needs to fight through.
You know what's funny? I don't think I've ever seen Gleeful Demolition kill somebody else's stuff. It always just wants to make 3 goblins for the Convoke decks, right?
Totally,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
The secret mode there. 1 mana destroy the best card against your deck. I'll take it.
Sweet. But luckily was able to take care of that Changeling, so doesn't have the wild card in the graveyard at the moment. This meta has been really cool. We got Floodpits Drowner into the Floodmaw. That's Mishra's
Command.
Yeah.
Okay, the Staunch Crewmate. Whereas we saw this card find the Throne of the Grim Captain in game 1, it actually misses this time. So, seeing the highs and the lows there.
Yeah. Storm Chaser's Talent hits the board now for Nicholas. Prowess trigger on the Swiftspear. And they're going to trade. No? Just blocking.
Yeah, so that's one of the cool things that we've seen from, like, every time Azeem gets attacked, his body language is like he can't wait He cannot wait to block as fast as he can. And that's what's awesome is he's got the Staunch Crewmate, the Flood Pit's Drowner, you know, a handful of other creatures that have cool enters the battlefield abilities.
Yeah.
And he can play them, get the trigger up front, use them as chump blockers. Now they're in the graveyard ready to support the Throne of the Grim Captain. So everything kind of goes together in this nice package of getting my triggers, sculpting my game plan, buying me time, and then inevitably hitting the graveyard as fodder for later.
Nice. So we have a pirate in the bin. We've got a merfolk on the board. We had an everything, but that's gone. Oh, dinosaur. That's it. Oh, no. Into the Floodmaw. Gives him a fish. But that's going to go back to hand.
Yeah, so a nice tempo play for Nicholas to stay in the game because it is somewhat mana, mana hungry to 2 mana to cast the throne and 4 mana to craft. But it brings up another great point, which is not only can you not ghost vacuum a card from the graveyard in response to the craft ability, you can't even interact with the permanent because it exiles as part of the crafting cost. So there's no, oh, hey, you're going to invest your mana, I'm going to respond and deal with your throne. You can't do that.
Oh, boy. Throne's back. We have the merfolk on the board still, and the Flood Pit's Drowner. Nicholas has his back up against the wall here, down to 12. Azeem's on 14. But it's looking very, very close to Grim Captain time for Azeem. Can Nicholas find an answer? Corey Steelcutter is his first go-to here. Follow-up spell. What do we cast? Into the Floodmaw once again. Man, there's just so many fish going around here. And in response, we're going to see Azeem mill 2 cards just to get some value off of that before it goes bye-bye. Whew. That's a scary fish.
How are you feeling about 14 life at this point, Ailey? Is that comfortable? Are you starting to sweat?
It's not the greatest. There's a blocker in the way, at least, which is helpful-ish. You got any more of them combat tricks there, Nicholas? Oh, yeah. Monstrous Rage. They always have it. How much damage is that? Oh, into the Floodmaw. Excellently timed there by Azeem. No fish given to Nicholas. I can see how this is. I see how this relationship goes. This is not reciprocal.
Well, 14 life, I would have been feeling pretty bad if I took that Monstrous Rage hit, but actually it looks not too bad for Azeem.
Yeah.
Let's keep perspective that 2 times now, Nicholas Odenheimer has used Into the Floodmaw to, significant resource disadvantage, right? Because he's using a card to only temporarily, not permanently, answer one of his opponent's cards. He's also having to gift a fish each time.
Yeah.
And this is a game where both players mulliganed, so that sort of resource disadvantage starts to become pretty pronounced. And, there has been no stock up, so at a certain point, you start to get a little bit squeezed on resources, and you're like, hey, I'm trying to set up this big turn, kill my opponent for 14 through blockers, and it's just not easy when I'm having to operate with a low number of cards in hand.
That's an awful turn here from Nicholas. Man, when you spend 4 mana to just level up the Storm Chaser's talent and get an uncastable card back in hand.
So are we going to see it again?
Yes, it's coming. Because we get to untap with it. Look, what's Nicholas going to do? He's going to take a lot of damage from a really angry pirate man. Not right now, but soon. No? Ah, Azeem. Bud, are we just going to kill him? Okay, fine. I suppose that works too. You got any more damage there? Oh, boy.
Yeah, so Azeem is just saying, hey, I have 3 creatures. I can put you to 1.
Yeah,
I'm not going to leave the door open for any slick shot show-off like shenanigans where I might accidentally die from 14.
Yep.
That's I like it. Yeah, I mean, the known Monstrous Rage in hand, you do have to be conservative, but this looks like a really reliable way to put the game away, just attacking with the fish.
It's not the cool play, but it's the correct play. And Azeem Lyons gets to 4-0 here at the Regional Championship in Hartford with the coolest deck of the weekend thus far.